welcome back to Code 4. It has been a pretty heavy couple of weeks. And so I kind of thought I wanted to do something not so heavy. So I've gathered some things that, I want to say the top. So what I did was I kind of put out a call to some of my LEO wives and came up with a list of things that we kind of roll our eyes at. Because as spouses, there are some things that we've just gotten used to and they don't affect us anymore. So this is that list. So the very first one that I have as far as things that we roll our eyes at are our first responder putting their back to the wall and having eyes on the door. I think this is just like kind of a given that anytime we go to dinner, I'm like, can we have the back booth? Do you want that seat, honey? So anytime, in fact, recently I went to dinner with my husband's sister and my brother-in-law, and I was looking at this round table in the middle of the restaurant and thinking in my mind, which chair would he like? And I saw where his sister was going and where my brother-in-law was going. And I thought, and I said, would you like this chair, honey? And he was like, no, I want this chair. And I was like, there was no wall. So he couldn't put his back towards it. So I'm sure that was like a conundrum for him to figure out, where am I going to sit without having a wall? So he decided he was going to look out on the restaurant instead of the front door. So who knows? So the second thing, the second thing that we roll our eyes at is a full moon. Because, and even like as a mental health professional, I totally get this, but did I get it after he became an officer. Because, man, some people are like, oh, the moon's so pretty. It's so full. I can't wait to sit and see the full moon tonight. And you know, all of us are like, God dang it, it's a freaking full moon. Pager's gonna go off. Where'd that come from? The phone's gonna be going off all night. You know, you wake up probably twice a night when there's a full moon because the phone's ringing or he gets called out or something bad's happened. So full moons suck, people. We don't like them. Provide light for activity. That's bad. Plus there's just insaneness. Like, I think mentally people, I don't know, it's the gravitational pull of the moon. I'm sure there's some astrology or some science behind this, but it's annoying. Okay, so the third thing that we have for the things that we roll our eyes at are the dark humor. Because man, it can seem really insensitive, but seriously, after being married to somebody for 17 years that uses the dark humor, I kind of laugh with them now. Probably makes me seem insensitive at times, but we try not to do it in public. Some of the things that he also has acronyms. I don't know if yours has acronyms, but some of the acronyms as far as the dark humor is that he has one that he says, well, he was DRT, which is dead right there. And then the other one that mine uses a lot is, well, you know, DWHUA, which is driving with head up ass. I'm sure I'll get flagged for using the ass word, but you know, there you go. So dark humor, dark humor is just necessary in the field. They have to move through those things. But yeah, you just kind of become numb with it. You just become insensitive, and then there's that part of you at some point in time where you just tip over and you just fall right into it with them. So yeah, dark humor. The next one is the view on life. Man, I spent a lot of energy at the beginning of my marriage trying to convince my husband that, like, no, it's not everybody, honey. Like, people mean well, but sometimes they just make bad decisions. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Everybody is stupid. People equal problems. The general public is a bunch of morons. It's just the view on the world. Like, there's just bad stuff that it happens. It happens everywhere. It's all the time. You got to watch for it. So, eventually you kind of just fall into it. Sometimes, once again, you're like, I try to stay out of it. I try pretty positive. So really, to me, this is just an eye roll moment. Like, yeah, honey, I know it's horrible. And I move on because I'm tired of trying to convince him. Maybe after he retires, I'll be able to convince him otherwise. So we'll work on changing that later. The next thing I said was creative language, just because I probably cannot repeat some of the things that my husband says without being flagged on the podcast for explicit language. The creative language, vulgarity, that comes out of his mouth is quite humorous at times. And I'm like, what did you just say? Because he doesn't just use common words. I mean, the a-hole word, okay, that's common, right? But then there are words where I'm like, what? Where did that come from? Oh yeah, we made that one up. I'm like, okay, all right, good thing. So the creative language and vulgarity, there you go. We're kind of moving into holiday season. So the next one I have on my list is the free food or donated food, especially when it comes to holidays. Because at least in our world, it's, where did this come from? Do we like them? Do they like us? What's their house look like? Do there bugs or the roaches? What do we need to know about these people? So, are they clean? Did they wash their hands? Have we been to their house lately? So there's this thing of people drop off food and they're like, where'd it come from? We need to know where it came from. So I just think it's funny. The next one on my list is movie criticism. So there are times when we're watching, I love action films. I love action films. People are like, oh, I like to watch the dramas. No, I get that in real life as far as my office all the time. I don't want to watch an effing drama. I want to watch something funny, which makes it really good with my husband and I because we watch the most sophomoric humor films kind of a thing. And I'm fine with that. He watches them 10 times and can recite them, and I get tired of it, but whatever. Okay, it makes his day. And then the other one is action films. I love shoot 'em up action films. And he will sit there doing a movie and count the number of shots that someone shoots, and in his head, obviously, because all of a sudden he'll be like, that was 13 shots and that magazine he's using doesn't have that. Or, he'll be like, what? That's not how you don't go into a building that way. That guy's an idiot. And so he's commenting on the cops or what's being shot or, oh yeah, that's a such and such gun. I don't know. I don't care. Shut up. I'm trying to watch the movie. And I said, why can't things just be fictional? He's like, well, how do you feel when a counselor sleeps with their client in a movie? And I'm like, point taken. Dang it, he has a point. All right, so the next one I have is not knowing people's first names because they call them by their last names all the time. Morris over there and, Doyle over there or whatever. And I'm like, what's their first name? And there's this pause. But so a lot of times that's what they get called is the last name. So I just think that's kind of funny and an eye roll thing. The other thing, at least mine and several of the people I know, is your spouse has got to get there super freaking early. Oh my gosh. One time we were going over to our friend's house who's also a cop. I call him his brother from another mother. He works at the same PD. Yeah, you know who you are if you're listening. And so we were going over to their house, and I get places on time, but I'm not going to be 30 minutes early to somebody else's house if we're going for dinner. That's not cool. Or if we're going out, they got to get dressed too. So we got there on time, but not early. And when I got there, my friend says to me, oh my gosh, my husband was stressing out because I wasn't ready 30 minutes before we were supposed to go out. And I told him, honey, Cindy's coming. It'll be fine. And so it worked out. We were both laughing about it, and they were just both annoyed because we weren't early. So maybe that's just us, but good gosh, have to be early. In fact, I have people come into counseling because they're like, she's always late. Well, you're always wanting to be 45 minutes early. We went to dinner. I said we went to dinner last weekend actually with my sister-in-law, and we got there early. And they got there early and they were like, dang it, we were trying to beat you here this time. Like, I think part of that is like they don't want to have people see them walk in if they're in a crowd. They just want to get early. They want to get the best seat, right? Because they got to get their back to the wall, remember? And they got to observe the room, so they got to pick the right seat to be at. So I think all of that kind of goes together. I don't know. We'll see. So here's another eye roll thing that you just have to get used to. You don't walk on their gun side. That is so, like, I'll just be walking and I'll want to hold his hand on, I have to think what side it is. I'll want to hold his right hand. No. What is that? I don't know. I'll run and hold his hand and he'll be like, other side, other side. I'm like, what? He's like, other side. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Gotta have your gun hand free. Gotta have your gun hand free because you might need to do something there. I got it. So you don't walk on the gun side. I have actually, one time I leaned in on his gun side and he kind of spun at me really quickly. I'm like, oh, sorry, gun side. So, you avoid the gun side. It's just an eye roll thing for me. And the last one that I have is commenting on cars commenting on cars and the violations that they have. We could be on our way anywhere and he'll be like, that's a scrote-mobile. I'm like, what's wrong with that car? He's like, do you see it? Like, look at that thing. I would totally pull that thing over. What's that? It's a hoopty. So, or, oh, those tags are out, or that license plate's covered, because in Texas you have to have the license plate totally visible. That license plate covered. What are you doing? I'm like, oh my gosh, just let it go. So anyway, that's my really quick, brief list. I wanted to do something kind of light and fun and humorous. I would love to hear, I'm sure I've missed some in here, but if you have some that are like, oh my God, how did you totally forget about that one, Cindy? I would totally love to hear that. This is just such a funny kind of topic. If I had more time, I would probably come up with some more. But I would love to hear from you. If you would comment on my social media, I know that Whitney will post this and there'll be like a really beautiful picture that she'll do with it. And if you post underneath it and if you think of some things, I would love to hear about them. Maybe we can do another one of these. It's kind of fun. And just as a little plug, And if you're in the DFW area, I would love to see you on October 21st. Out in Highland Village, they are doing the Texas Fallen Heroes Bike Race fundraiser. And that fundraiser, there is a 5K in the morning, then there is a bike race for the public, and then at 5:30 there is a departmental bike race. And so I think last year, they had like 20 something departments that competed in this bike race. And the department has multiple people from the bike teams that come and race. It's a big deal if they win, let me tell you. So I would love to see you out there. Also, if you can't come or just because you like to spend money, there is an auction that they are having too. And so if you look at they have an auction that's available as well. And so if you go to txfallenpd.com. That will take you to the City of Highland Village page, and you will see a promo for the bike race. You can then go to the online auction tab, and it will take you out to another site. There they have 62 items that you can bid on, and it's kind of like a eBay thing where you can do a proxy bid if you want to. I have lost several things so far, but there are some really great things on there, and it looks like they have continued to add some items over the past couple days. So check it out if you would like to support the Fallen Officers Fund. That I would be thrilled to have any kind of impact on that. That fund is for Texas officers that have passed away, and it goes to support their families in some way. It might be through a variety of ways, but it goes to financially support them after their officer has passed away. So anyway, if you are in the DFW area on the 21st, I would love to see you out there and supporting it. They do have a Journey cover band that's going to be playing in the evening, and it's an open air area in the shops of Highland Village. So come out and come enjoy the fun, support the Fallen Officers Fund, and I hope to see you there. Until next time, I hope you keep it Code 4.